Do you see Kanga? Do you see Roo? And do you see Winnie-the-Pooh? You do? Let's see what's happening with Roo. He said, is my shirt getting smaller? Let's see if Roo's shirt is getting smaller. We will, we will. Let's do it. Ah, perfect. There we go. Roo, hopping out of bed early one morning and put on his favorite shirt. But this morning, something was different. Today, Roo had to tug very hard to get, very hard just to get it over his head. Whoa! When he did, the shirt seemed tight. Is my shirt getting smaller? He wondered. Do you think his shirt's getting smaller? You don't? Well, you're exactly right. We think he might be getting, what? Bigger! Yay! Okay, let's do this. Oh, and I almost forgot. We got to show his bedroom. Do you see that? There's Roo there in his bed. And now we'll turn the page and we'll get to see some more. Ah, at breakfast, Roo sat in the same chair he had sat in every day. Do you see that? But this time, Roo's feet almost touched the floor. Whoa! I don't think this has ever happened before, Roo thought. Oh no! It's my chair. Is my chair getting smaller too? Do you think his chair's getting smaller? Nah, Roo's just getting bigger. Great job. Ah, here we go. Here's your oatmeal, said Kanga, handing Roo his favorite bowl. Roo ate it all, but he wanted more. That must have been a smaller bowl than I usually have, he thought. Okay, is it a smaller bowl? Or is Roo getting bigger? He's getting bigger. Excellent job. You're doing so great. Wonderful, wonderful. Mama, Roo said, everything in our house is shrinking. Really? Kanga said with a smile. What makes you think so, dear? Well, said Roo, this morning my shirt got smaller, and when I sat down, my feet almost touched the floor. And look, Roo held up his empty bowl. I ate up all my oatmeal, which I never do. My bowl must be getting smaller, too. Kanga said thoughtfully. I wonder what's happening. Let's see. Do you see Kanga there? And then there's Roo. And he's going, Mama, my food, I'm getting small. It's getting smaller, and I'm getting bigger. There's Tigger. Before Kanga had a chance to explain, Tigger came bouncing through the door. Hop, 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 hop. Buddy boy, hoo-hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo-hoo. Buddy boy, said Tigger, and good morning to you, Mrs. Kanga. Tigger, Tigger, cried Roo, jumping up and down. Our house is shrinking. You don't say, said Tigger. That would happen sometime. What if everything in the wood is getting smaller? That's what T's saying. What if everything in the woods is getting smaller? Asked Roo. We've better get investigating, said Tigger and Roo bounced out the door. Do you see there's Tigger here going hoo hoo hoo? There's Roo, and then there's Kanga, and Roo thinks that everything in the 100-acre wood and in his house is getting smaller, but actually he is getting bigger. So isn't that cool? There's Roo, Tigger, and Owl. Their first stop was to Sandy Pit. Roo hopped across it. Then he turned to Tigger and said, It's time. It took me only 3 bounces to get across. It used to take me 5. Whoa, 5. The sandy pit must be shrinking. Do you see it used to take him 5 bounces, but it took him 3. Is the sandy pit getting smaller, or is Roo getting bigger? Exactly, Roo's getting bigger, so it doesn't take him as much to actually bounce over to the sandy pit. What you know, the wood is getting smaller? Yep, said Tigger. Then For once, Tigger paused to think. At least, I think. Yep. Said, let's go tell someone, said Roo, leading Tigger towards Owl's house. See, this is Owl's house. Everybody goes up to Owl's house when they want to talk about something or if they have an idea, because Owl knows a lot of things. And Roo thinks that the 100-acre wood's getting smaller, and Tigger doesn't know what to think. He's like, why did it only take you 3 bounces instead of 5? And why do you think stuff's getting smaller, but he's getting bigger? That's what Roo is figuring out. He's not getting this. The stuff's not getting smaller. He's getting bigger, and that's the cool thing about Walt Disney. It teaches us to continue to keep learning, and that's why we think, and we get bigger and bigger in our knowledge. Owl, Roo called, but there was no answer. Tigger and Roo climbed up anyway. Owl wasn't home, but his friends saw a note pinned to his door. Off giving flying lessons, Owl. So Owl is actually going to give flying lessons to other animals, and so he'll come back. But they're like, okay, they'll come back later. So now they're gonna climb back down, and let's see what happens now. There's Owl, right up there, and then there's the birds that he's giving flying lessons to. Let me see. Yeah, perfect. There he is, cried Tigger over in the tree. Come here, little buddy, and we'll carry you down, and I'll carry you down. I can get down myself, said Roo. And that is true, because he's getting bigger. Then Roo's eyes got big. Oops, I gotta move there. Got big around, but I never could before. That's what Roo says. He says, I can never climb up or down. I used to have Tigger carry me, but now Roo doesn't have to. He's getting bigger. Okay, Owl's tree must be shrinking. Do you see that? He thinks his tree is shrinking, but in reality, Roo is actually getting bigger, because now he's a little bit bigger than he was before. We know that a couple things. His shirt doesn't. We're going to go over a little bit. His shirt is smaller. He can almost touch the ground in his chair. He can eat more than he normally could before. And he bounced, instead of 5 bounces to the sandy pit, he only does 3. And now he climbs up to Owl's house easier, and he can climb down without Tigger's help. He's getting bigger, not the 100-acre woods getting smaller. Owl, Roo called from below. We have something to tell you. Owl flew down to greet his friends. I hope it's good news on this. I hope it's good news on this wonderful morning. That's what Owl says. You see, my friends have finally grown big and strong enough to fly. See, these are his friends here. And Owl's pointing and saying to his friends, they're big enough to fly. He's telling Roo and Tigger that. Okay, let's see. And I've been teaching them how. Then Owl turned and called out loudly as he could. Everyone, fly on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Suddenly the air was filled with little birds, swooping and soaring along. Do you see that? They're swooping and soaring. Right over here. Right there, there's one. And Owl counts 1, 2, 3. There's always a little hesitant one, but this little bird will do it. We know he will. Let's root him on and say, go, you could do it, you could do it. Let's say it. You could do it, you could do it. And let's see if the little bird flies. Owl's been teaching him lots of flying lessons. Very good, called Owl. Then he turned to Tigger and Roo. Now, what is it you want to tell me? Basically, he's asking, what is it you want to tell me? Your house is shrinking. Oops, I gotta come over here. Your house is shrinking. The sand pit is shrinking. The woods is shrinking, said Roo, hopping up and down. Right over here. Here he is. He's going, He's going, everything's shrinking. This is Owl, and he's going, how can I help you? And Ruth's saying, the sand pit's shrinking, my chair's shrinking, my shirt's shrinking, the 100-acre woods is shrinking. Oh no, what do I do? And of course, Owl's going to tell him that he's getting bigger. Ridiculous, but true, said Tigger. Oh dear, said Owl. Then he called to his little friends. Everyone, practice flying home. Lessons are over for today. See, he talks to his little friends. He's telling them, lessons are over. These birds up here, he's telling them, they flew and did a really good job. That one's flying. And so he's telling them to go home, and there'll be more flying lessons. See, there's another one up there. Let's go see if Pooh looks the same, says Tigger. So he's looking in the window. He might be shrinking too. They knocked on Pooh's door, but no one answered. Then Tigger looked inside and said, nobody's home. Do you see he's looking inside? And then now we're going to come over here. Let me see, said Roo, looking in the window. Oh, no, I could never reach the window before. Do you see he could never reach the window before? There we go. Pooh's house is shrinking. We've got to find him and tell him. Do you see how he used to be smaller and he'd only be up right to about here? But now that he's growing, he can stand up and look in the window like Tigger can. He's getting bigger. The 100-acre woods is not getting smaller. Mr. Sanders, do you see that? And there's Tigger and Roo, and there's Piglet and Winnie-the-Pooh. And here they come. Hello there, said Pooh as he and Piglet walked up the path. Looking for someone, said Pooh boy. That's what Tigger always says. You looking for Pooh? Yeah, that's the whole thing. He's saying to Pooh, are you looking for something? Because Piglet and Pooh usually always go together when they're looking for something. And Tigger's going to ask him, we have to have some help. And so he's going to come and talk to Pooh. Said Tigger, we've come to tell you something important. Do you see? They've come. Pooh's like, what's important? Think. That's Pooh. Okay. Everything is shrinking, said Roo. First, my shirt got smaller. Then my chair got little, but so my feet could almost touch the floor. And Roo only needed 3 hops to cross the sandy pit instead of 5, said Tigger. Do you see they're over here? He's telling Tigger and Roo are telling Piglet, I could do things a lot faster. It must be, and I could do it, because I'm bigger. It must be the 100-acre woods is shrinking. And Piglet's going to go, Pooh, what are we going to do? Roo's shrinking. I mean, the 100-acre woods is shrinking, and Roo's getting bigger. Pooh's going, think. So let's see some more. Oh, dear, said Pooh. We'd better go and see if my thinking spot is shrinking too. So Pooh's wondering if his thinking spot's shrinking. On the way to Pooh's thinking spot, the friends stopped at the pond. Then Tigger called out to the ducklings that were gliding by their mother. Hello there, ducklings. When you're growing up to be the same size as your mama, someday they're going to grow up to be the same size. These ducklings here are going to grow up to be the same size as their mama. Okay. And then you'll be able to swim as fast as your mama. That's what he's saying too. And Tigger's a really, really nice person because he talks to all the animals. And there's Piglet, and then there's Owl who's come with him. Then there's Roo, and then there's Pooh. They're on their way to the thinking spot where Pooh always thinks some ideas out. Let's see. Bother, said Pooh as he sat down in his thinking spot. Think. If everything in the 100-acre woods is getting smaller, maybe the ducklings will always be ducklings. That's what he's thinking. He's going, think. Will the ducklings always be ducklings, or will they grow up to be as big as their mother? What do you think? Oh, exactly right. They're going to be as big as their mother someday. Roo, said Owl, I think we need to visit the climbing tree. Let's see. They all remember. Tigger always tells Roo, "We're gonna visit the climbing tree because that's where they used to climb and have a good time." Okay, let's read some more. As as the friends gathered by their favorite place to swing, Owl told Roo to reach up and grab into the lowest branch. Roo began to swing from the branch. Everyone smiled and nodded. Well, I'm afraid, to Tigger. He's like really nervous. He's like, Roo, what's going on? Is our jumping tree getting smaller? No, the jumping tree's not getting smaller, Tigger. Roo's getting bigger. He now has the ability. He this morning could put on his shirt. It was hard to. He was able to almost touch the ground when he was at the table. He needed more food when he used to only eat a little bit, not the whole entire amount. Then when he went outside to play with Tigger and jump into the sandy spot, he only needed 3 bounces instead of 5. And now he can grab onto the branch when he used to need help. He's getting bigger, but he thinks the 100-acre woods is getting smaller. What do you think? Exactly right. It's not getting smaller. Roo's getting bigger, which is really cool. What? Asked Roo, hopping up and down. Roo, Owl began, remember when you were so small you couldn't reach the branch? Even when you hopped to the highest and held your arms straight up, he did bounce, and he can never get to this branch. But because he's getting bigger, now he can reach the branch by himself. It's really cool. Now you can get now you can swing with no problem, said Piglet. So the woods isn't shrinking, Roo, said Pooh. Your shirt isn't getting smaller. It's just that you're getting bigger. Yay! Cried Roo. Hooray for me! Do you see that? He's able to touch the branch. There's Owl. There's Piglet, there's Pooh, and there's Tigger. And they're saying, buddy boy, as Tigger would say, hoo, you're not getting small. The woods isn't getting smaller. You're getting bigger. Now you can touch the top and do everything that bigger people could do because you're tall and now you could jump and all that cool stuff. And that's what they're celebrating, his bigness. Let's take a look here. Okay, that's it. Oops, sorry about that. So what have we learned? We learned the importance that Roo figured out that he wasn't getting smaller. The woods wasn't getting smaller. Everything wasn't getting smaller. He was getting bigger. And every day we grow up and we have to treasure, like what we always say, growing up is something you could treasure. Treasure every day because someday you're going to grow up and you're not going to be as small as Roo is. You're going to be able to do big things, but you're going to remember the past and you're going to go, I remember when I could do that, and I remember what I could do now. Thank you so much for coming on this adventure with Walt Disney's Winnie-the-Pooh. Is my shirt getting smaller? And like what we always say, remember to like, favorite, and subscribe, and come back to Happy Time Story Time for more videos. Be blessed, my friends. Bye-bye.